And that's why I always avoid going into shopping at Walmart if I can avoid it. What's going on, YouTube? Today I'm going to be giving you a video on vampirism, werewolfinism, and humanism. What is the best option for you? I was inspired to make this video because with the new armory changes, you can literally switch between being a vampire and a werewolf on the fly. So you can easily lose your vampirism, cure your vampirism, be a werewolf, switch back to not being a furry, going from Team Edward to Team Jacob, and you don't have to get recursed. All you need is to make sure you have enough armory slots to do so. So because of that, I was inspired to make this video because with it being so easy to remove, what are the main benefits of each individual thing? That being of lycanthropy, werewolfinism, vampirism, and then you just being a good old guy, like that guy from Deadpool 2. You're just a guy. But starting with werewolf, and this will be a 1,000-foot overview. I have videos on how to become werewolves, vampires, and yada yada. If you have questions about that, you can always put it in the comments below, and I can help direct you and give you all that information should you need it. But this is going to be more so focusing on the pros and the cons. Now, the pros of vampirism, for example, we'll start with vampirism, is that you are able to switch between the levels. So you don't have to be level 4 all the time, which is where you see the highest drawbacks. That's where you take your more flame damage. That's where you're going to have more cost. That's where your health recovery is going to be zeroed out. The good thing is, you don't have to be there. In fact, if you are a vampire, you are able to use things like corrupting Bloody Maras to move your vampirism stage up, and purifying Bloody Maras to move your vampirism stage down, easily giving you control in PvP situations that you want. Because sometimes you may want to be a stage 4 vampire, such as if you're a Nightblade and you're looking to come out of stealth, you may want the sprint sneak, you may want those things. Common times, a lot of people will use the undeath perk, which requires you to be a stage 3 vampire. So you'll still have an increased ability cost, but you'll be able to avoid being executed significantly easier. This is quite popular also in PvE content. The undeath perk is actually very good. And because you're able to switch between vampirism and not vampirism easily, you're able to switch between, where an undeath perk might be necessary in a specific type of content that doesn't have overt flame damage or doesn't require you to do, crazy types of things. Plus, speaking honestly, with Basai being one of the #1 best in slot PvE mag sets in the game, you want your magicka to be low. So you're okay if your recoveries, are normal with higher cost, because your non-vampirism based abilities will cost more, but to be fair, you're never going to use the vampire based abilities more than likely. So that's going to leave you spending more to do your normal casts. However, most players will be able to offset this with magicka potions, spell power pots, and it's going to help actually kind of keep their magicka low, which will help proc their Pasai and keep them doing damage over time. And on a PvP basis, it's just good to have. Also, being able to go into stealth at Vampirism Stage 1 and being able to walk at your normal speed is also going to be helpful. And honestly, as a Nightblade or anyone coming out of stealth, Vampirism Stage 2, being able to give you that extra damage proc is definitely good to have also. So in conclusion about vampirism, the drawbacks aren't nearly as significant as they used to be, especially because you don't have to constantly worry about, oh, well, there's no way I'm going to be able to take a vampire into this trial or into this dungeon or into this. So I have to cure this and then get bitten again later and blah, 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 blah. Because there's not that drawback, it's vampirism has become very mainstream, Everyone wants to be a glow boy or a Team Edward, if you will. Because the drawbacks aren't as nearly as significant as they used to be. So if vampirism is for you, just head on down to a shrine. And I actually, for once, I encourage people to be vampires because the #1 negatives, that it makes your skin look ugly too. You can also just slap on another skin over top of it, like I have on my guy, where I have the Meridian skin. But you can slap on any skin and then you won't look pale and ugly. So On to werewolfism, which is another, again, and I've always said this about werewolves. Werewolves don't really have drawbacks. The only thing that I would say about werewolves is if you're fighting a werewolf in PvP content is you know what they're going to do. You're not going to be surprised. You're not going to go, "Oh my gosh, what just happened?" Like you're going to understand like what they're doing, what their attacks are. It's kind of like going up against a Stam Warden where you know like hey, they're going to beetle, dizzying, swing, executioner strike, use their little wing flaps to go faster. Their toolkit is very similar. But that doesn't mean that there's any drawbacks. So if you're looking to get into PvP and you want to get something that's easy for Battlegrounds, werewolves are a great option. I've also seen people suggest werewolf builds for solo content such as Maelstrom Arena or Vatestrand. I don't know if I agree with that. I definitely think that Maelstrom Arena could be completed fairly simply with a werewolf. I just don't know if I would personally want to use that. I feel like there are probably, like if you were looking at an easy way to clear those dungeons, I think there are easier build setups. However, with werewolves being very universal, they're able to easily do content. I will say they do have a higher upfront cost than you would give them credit for because you're going to want to triune crystal and triune glyph and prism everything. So you're going to want to have the expensive stuff to make sure you're getting mag, stam, and health on all of your gear, as well as potentially some prism recovery runes on your jewelry. But you don't necessarily need that. You could go just straight for weapon power also. Up to you, but it is more expensive. So if you're trying to build an endgame werewolf, they are a little deceivingly expensive. And as a little bit of a side note, I would say that Shapeshifter's necklace has outpaced the Oaken Soul ring. So if you're looking for an easy mythical to slap on to a werewolf, I would say consider the Shapeshifter's necklace over Oaken Soul. That's just based on what professional werewolves say. I am not a professional werewolf. So don't take my word as gospel on these things. These things may change. I don't know. If you have opinions about werewolves and what mythicals, please put it in the comments below. My werewolf build is very, very cut and dry. So let me know what you think about that. And again, with it being able to easily flipped on and off, but werewolf is one of those things where there's really not a negative to not having it on at any given moment. So if you didn't want to use your werewolf, it's not like Vampirism where you're going to constantly have those increased costs, increased flame damage, negative to health recovery. You're not going to have that. You would just not have that ultimate equipped. So the ease to get into it is obviously very easy for that part. So give it a consideration. There is still it's a bit up in the air in the community. So for example, if you're a vampire or a werewolf, but you're not in your werewolf form, for example, would you take more damage from Dawnbreakers and stuff in Cyrodiil? That's still up for debate. That's such a niche circumstance that I really wouldn't even worry about that. So, and then finally, we have the normal human. Now, what are the benefits to being a normal human? Well, you get to work a 9-to-5 job, wife and kids, low mortgage rate. But joking aside, there's really not a whole lot of reasons to be a normal human anymore, which sounds crazy because it was only before the armory system came out. I would say that it's just a safer bet to be a normal human, but you're not going to get any of the benefits of having the undeath perk or the movement of the vampire in sneak or the sprint sneak, which honestly is super helpful for PvE like overland grinding content. You know how easy it is to just sprint past everything and just go on your merry way? You could skip whole sections of quests without having to do any sort of fighting, without having to do any sort of, conflict or nothing. So unfortunately for that reason, it's not worth it. Humanism, normalism, being a normal guy like you, it used to be just a safe, neutral ground bet. And now, as we get further along, I would say it's worth to pick a side, vampire, werewolf for your characters. I actually lean more towards vampirism these days because with you being able to, change your levels on the fly using recipes, with you being able to turn it off if necessary using the armory system, if you're going into a type of content that really you can't be a vampire because of the damage buffs, or you're doing a hard mode that has way too much flame damage for you to be able to comprehend. You're always able to switch back to being a human, but other than that, I mean, I just, it's lost on me these days. No vampirism, no werewolfism, because if you're a werewolf, you get teabagged when you die in PvP, because people look at you like you play with no thumbs, which, not true. I have thumbs. And then vampires used to just get shafted because you would just run into these situations where they'd be like, "You're a werewolf? Oh, well, you can't come with us." But those days are no longer. So let me know what you guys think in the comments below. As a reminder, I'll be pulling 2 comments, a subscriber comment, and then a comment from everyone, including subscribers, at the end of the month. So if you'd like to be entered into those giveaways, just leave a comment in the comments below. Let me know what your favorite color is. Let me know, are you a werewolf, a vampire, or a human, both? Let me know what you guys think in the comments below, and I'll see you tomorrow.
You better remember to like and subscribe to Jake Clips. Or you should. I might have to pluck your eyes if you don't. Or, better yet, I'll skip rope with your entrails. Do it now. Subscribe. Ta-ta. Off with you.
Thanks so much for sticking around past the outro. If you'd like to know what happened and why I'm so pissed off at Walmart and Best Buy, it's because not only did that microphone that I had been using on my YouTube streams break, but I bought an arm to put it on at Best Buy, and now that broke. So now I can't stream. I can only make Xbox YouTube videos, so there's going to be a little delay. I did fast order a new setup from eBay because the seller was like very close to my house. Definitely not going to go drive there. He could still mail it to me, obviously, but it only has to come from like 100 miles away. So it said it should be here by Tuesday, so I'll be looking to stream by Tuesday because I've redone my stream background, so I'm very excited to show you guys that. It's just a bit of a setback when 90% of your equipment breaks because you put the microphone on and then the microphone falls off and then it takes part of the screw that it was screwed on with because the tension on the arm exploded and then that threw off the microphone and then broke the screw into it and I couldn't get the screw out. It was a whole disaster, and I have a feeling that both Best Buy and Walmart are going to be like, "You want to return this?" We can't help you, but we'll see how that goes. I'm going to try to return these things tomorrow. So wish me luck on that, and I'll catch you guys tomorrow. Bye, guys.